What's up, guys? It's Bradu. Uh, Wanted to do a video on some new pickups I have for my card collection, which I am taking in a new direction. Just I've noticed over time, if you've watched my channel at all, I am a pack ripper, and I've had a blast the last few years opening packs from the 80s, 90s, early 80s even. I've hit most of the cards I wanted to open for myself, just the nostalgia of, I finally got the Upper Deck Griffey out of that collection that was in a fire, and the card was actually in okay shape. I've hit 83 all the top rookies. I've hit a Mattingly, Fleer, tops out of vending. I never hit the Donruss, but hit Bo Jackson rookies and got millions of them in baseball, millions. And certainly several football too. Uh, Nothing super old, nothing pre 1980. I think the oldest pack I've opened is 81. But the point I'm getting at is a couple of years ago, I could get 90 Donruss boxes for $5 or less. And how many 90 Donruss cards do you need? Or 87 tops, McGuire's and Bows. And so I started to realize I have this pretty massive collection without a whole lot of character to it, I guess. And I've always had a bit of a rule against buying singles because I enjoy opening packs so much more. So I would buy packs, rip them, and then trade what I've got for cards that I need. But the honest truth is, even like Wade Boggs rookies are like $10 trade value or something ridiculously low. And so that wasn't really working out. I did build a pretty good collection of rookies from all four sports that way. But anyway, what I'm getting at is just recently it just kind of hit me like I can't really afford to rip any wax the way that I used to. You just don't find the deals. Prices have gone up on everything. Skybox basketball is like $50 a box now or something dumb, and the best card you can get is what, Jordan, at $2? It just doesn't make sense except for the nostalgia of it. And so now that I've opened pretty much all that I want or can, I'll still keep my eyes out, but I'm like, well, how can I expand my collection and get cards that I want that I don't already have? And then I bought that collection a couple weeks ago that it had a bunch of vintage hockey from the 70s. Now, I'm a huge hockey fan to begin with, especially of the 70s. And it made me realize, like, here were all these cards that I wanted that I didn't already have that I think are awesome, and I hadn't considered too much going back pre-80s except for looking for rookie cards. And then I was like, I don't even have like a Bobby Orr card or a Gordie Howe vintage card. I have, stuff they printed in Score and Upper Deck or whatever. But a true vintage, and then I got some Bobby Orrs in that collection. I'll actually show some of my recent pickups, many from that collection, from a card show recently, from a trade. I actually should show more, but I'll show you what I got. So I decided what I'm going to start doing is collecting vintage, try and find so football I've got very little. I did pick up a Fran Tarkenton because I've heard of him. I don't remember how much I think I paid $20 for a card that I'll show you later, and just said, will you add in this and this and this, and there was a few other cards. So I'd like to get Fran Tarkenton, Bart Starr, O.J. Simpson, any card of those guys, right? I was not nearly as big of a football fan, so even some of the greats. That's not how I got that Fran Tarkenton. I got a Dick Butkus card. I should have pulled that out too. I got a Dick Butkus card in that deal that I just mentioned. Basketball. How cool is this card? Rick Barry. That's like $2. It's iconic, man. He's a great player, and he's in his free throw stance, and he's like the guy who invented. Did he invent it? The guy who's famous for shooting granny free throws with great success. There's a super interesting Oh, was it a This American Life that I heard, or an excerpt in a who's that author of The Tipping Point? Malcolm Gladwell. I don't think it was The Tipping Point. I feel like I've heard and read a story about Rick Barry teaching Wilt Chamberlain how to do way better on his free throws by doing underhand, and Chamberlain did it. The Outliers was the book. Chamberlain did it for a season and greatly improved his free throw percentage, but went back to shooting overhand the next season because he said he just didn't feel like manly enough shooting underhanded, and that negative stigma about it has kept basically every basketball player ever, almost, from shooting that way, even though it's more or less proven to be better, if you practice it, if you learn it the right way. So anyway, here's a good, awesome vintage card that cost me basically nothing. I probably pulled it out of $1 or four or a quarter box or something like that at the last card show. This was a real jam. That collection I had that was mostly hockey and then 80s baseball had like 5 basketball cards in it, one of which was a Moses Malone rookie. I had no clue it was coming because I hadn't seen any basketball, and the others were like commons from the 70s or whatever. Now, this card has something about it that I want to talk about, and that's character. Actually, just now looking at the card, I realized how amazing it is. I thought this card was just absolutely trashed, and it is. I don't know if you can see the edges and corners are like super worn, but it doesn't even have a crease. I was like, man, that it's in way better shape than I thought when I found it. What a cool card. And I was a guy, watching basketball in the 80s, so I remember Moses. So I'm mostly going to try and get guys that I remember. That is just a great card. What a cool find. It was on my want list already anyway, even before I was really chasing vintage, because like I said, I do rookie cards and of any player I like or knew of or whatever. And this Moses is just sweet. It's got character. Let's look at some hockey cards from that. You know what? Yeah, let's do some hockey. That's why I do these. Just did a trade recently with a local guy. And I don't know why, but he just kind of threw this in. He was really generous with me. I've traded with him before. Milt Schmidt 60s card. I'm a huge hockey fan, so I actually know my hockey players way better, going all the way back to the 50s than I do any other sport. Marcel Dion. It tricks you. It looks like it's his rookie card, but he's one of the few guys in the 70s who had a rookie card before the year that he actually played. I don't know how or why. I do have his rookie card too, but this was in that hockey card collection, I think. Just tons of awesome cards that were in. These are mostly from that collection. Esposito. I put together a complete set or very near complete set of this 73, 74 Guy Lafleur card. He just passed away this last week. What else I got in here? Some team cards. Daryl Sittler, Kurt Bennett, Rick Blight. Now, this is an example to something I'm going to show you. This card is bent in half almost. Wow, I can't seem to get the glare that shows how bad that crease is. There we go. That crease, it goes all the way through the card. Tons of cards like that. I actually like a card like that when we're talking about a 60s or 70s card, because it shows character. It's still the card. Now, this is just a Rick Blight, but the example that I have, I'll get to that too, is like, I'm never going to have a Mickey Mantle card that's in pristine shape, that's graded. I just can't afford stuff like that. But if I get a Mickey Mantle card for, I don't know, $100, is that reasonable for a Mickey Mantle card that's got a crease down the middle or a torn corner or something? That card's got some character, and it's a way that I can affordably get cards of these great legends that I otherwise wouldn't have. Not looking for value and resale, but just for having an awesome collection. I do G.I. Joe action figures kind of the same way, and I never wanted like the carded figures, because it's still just the action figure, and all of a sudden it costs $100 or more. So I did my G.I. Joe and Star Wars vintage action figure collections by picking up lots on eBay and garage sales, and it's been 10 years probably since I bought any of those action figures, but I wanted them like I remember them, like played with. I didn't want them broken necessarily, but played with, as long as they, you know, like the legs were still attached. A broken thumb or broken crotch on GI Joe guys is totally common. That never bothered me because I was picking up, 50 figures for $50, and then just like anytime I'd get a duplicate, I'd put it in my trade pile, sell it, get $50 for the 50 figures, and now I can buy a new collection, keep out the ones I wanted, and I just cycled through like that. But I'm realizing that with sports cards, I have that same attitude about cards that are damaged. They have character. When you're looking at vintage cards, they're not supposed to be perfect. There's nothing wrong with having a legit vintage awesome card that's beat up. I also, with hockey especially, I like to play with the cards, and I like to put together a big stack of 200 different players from the 70s or even more, and shuffle them up into teams and just look at how the teams turn out. And by taking cards that are this badly creased or damaged or whatever, I can do that without guilt free, like not have to worry about the condition of the card. Let's see what else I got in here. I just grabbed a stack that's actually kind of commons. Danny Gare, Ververgart. I was realizing my hockey name pronunciations are not maybe as good as I thought, because I was watching a video where another guy was pronouncing some of the names differently than what I thought they were. Here's 4 great players on a card: Lafleur, Barber, Sittler, Bob Bourne. Actually, I just saw a guy open this card out of a pack, because I remember him saying Bourne, not quite as big a name as the other guys or whatever. Rick McLeish. Terry O'Reilly, love him. Bernie Perrant. Some of these are in real nice shape. So I'm like, yeah, I gotta just start collecting cards. Here's Bobby Orr, see? That I don't have. It's like I opened up this whole world of cards that I want. I don't need like I don't follow most sports anymore. I don't even follow hockey. I follow baseball a little bit. I have picked up, some Mariners. Ty France is tearing it up. I got a few of his rookies last year. They're 2019, but I dug them out last year and realized I had them. All right, what else do we have? Anything I need to show? Ken Dryden, great goalie. These were from that collection. Here's another Bobby Orr in great shape. This was so fun getting this collection because of stuff like this. Here's a Bobby Orr with a crease, but I just showed you a real nice one. Same card. Another Bobby Orr. Thought this one was jacked up because of this mark. Looks like a pubic hair right about there. It's actually a crack in the wall behind. It's in the photo, not part of the card. Larry Robinson, great player, Big Bird. And Guy Lafleur. I ended up with a bunch of Guy Lafleur cards. I don't have his rookie, unfortunately. I have his second-year card. There was also a bunch of 81, 82 Stasny, Yari Curry. Oh yeah, stack of beauties right here. That's it for hockey, isn't it? That'll be it for my hockey. Trache. Right before I started this video, I was watching a 1980 Islanders Bruins YouTube, like the full game. Good game with fights. I only got through the first period. Trache scored a goal. These are, by the way, these Trache rookie cards I just showed you, such nice shape. If I ever do grading, at least a couple of those are going for grading. So that's what got that collection, which most of those hockey cards I just showed you came from, really kind of got this idea going for me. So the last time I went to a card show, I got these. There was a bin of beat up vintage cards, and I had a kind of a nice chat with the guy and dug through. I can't even remember what I paid, but most of these were like $2, $4, $5. Carly Yastrzemski, all kinds of creases and stuff. But a Yaz card from the 60s, 70. So this is a 71. But for a buck or two. Don Drysdale. Again, I think that one was maybe $4 or something. And that might be overpaying. I don't know. But it's a card from the, it's got writing on the back from the, it mentions 62, so probably mid 60s. I don't know my vintage enough to know that wood border. It's creased, it's in bad shape. But my first goal is going to be to get a Don Drysdale, a Willie Mays, a Hank Aaron, any of those like base cards. And if they're beat up, that's fine. And then over time, I can upgrade or worry about trying to get all of the Don Drysdales or all of the Hank Aaron's. But for starters, I'm going for any. And as I was digging through this guy's boxes, I hear him mention to another guy. He says, right here's the cheapest Willie Mays vintage card you can get. And it's, it's a legit vintage card, but it's only like $10. And I was like, ooh. So they finished talking. The guy walked away and I reached for those. And I don't love these cards, but I like what he said, These are the Decal Edge cards and they were pretty cheap. I just grabbed a stack of them. Bob Gibson, Louis Aparicio, a couple guys I haven't heard of. Willie Mays. I got a $10 Willie Mays vintage card. It's actually in good shape, no creases or anything. And then the other thing, and these I recognized, a 1961 Fleer. It's baseball greats, so it has a lot of big names. This set, though, is pretty cheap. Most of these beat-up cards were a quarter. Home Run Baker for a quarter. And Lefty Gomez for a quarter. Cool, I've heard of him. Ralph Kiner was $2. Rogers Hornsby, $3. Sweet. And then this was different. I saw this at the card store the other day. This was with that Butkus card I mentioned earlier. Ty Cobb from the set. And I paid, it's marked 20, and I paid 20 for it and 3 or 4 other cards. So it's probably more like I paid 10 or 15 for it, which might have been overpaying. I wasn't too concerned with that. It seemed reasonable. But anyway, here's things I like about this set. One is I found part of my dad's collection. My dad gave away the bulk of his collection the year that I was born. My mom always harbored ill will towards him for that, but nobody knew in 1976 the cards were going to be valuable. Let's face it. So my dad is not the only dad who did that. Everybody's dad did that, right? He was a teacher. He gave them away to a student of his who liked baseball cards. What a generous thing to do. Unfortunately, it really fucked me over because he probably had a great collection of 50s and 60s cards. I did find one shoebox full, and it was 59 tops, 61 tops, and then these 61 Fleer cards. So I recognized these, and I found that this set in particular is very, very cheap. They're legit Fleer vintage cards with names like Ty Cobb. There's a Babe Ruth in the set. I thought if I put together this set, even in beat up shape, gives me a great starter to my vintage collection and marks off a lot of those big names that I want to get. So that was cool. And along with that, let's see. Oh, this was one of the cards. There we go. This is one of the cards that I got along with that Ty Cobb. Dusty Rhodes. Apparently this guy was a wrestling fan and decided to rip off the name of Dusty Rhodes. Yes, I realize. So probably the other way around. Then these 3, 4 I got from the trade with the local guy. It was mostly hockey, but he told me a funny story about this. Harry Chappas rookie card. Shortest ball player, 5'3", 150, shortest ball player in history, I believe, to play in the major leagues. Pretty nice Joe Morgan, so I checked him off my list. And then I also ended up with another Willie Mays card. This is after buying the one for $10. Now Willie's on this card. It's got writing on the back. I just don't care. I like the character that this card has, and it's a vintage Willie Mays, and that's cool to me. And then Frank Thomas, This card is pre-rookie. It's so early he wasn't even black yet. Um, joking, of course. But that's a good look at my, certainly not my whole vintage collection. I've got some pretty decent rookies in hockey and quite a bit, especially in hockey, of set builders and even a couple sets, 73, 74, and 76, 77 tops hockey sets. Awesome. I really want to get more basketball. There's 1 year I have a good portion of the set, probably 80 to 90%. I've got the Kareem. I think I have Irving. It's the year of, oh crap, I'm not going to be able to think of it all of a sudden. Who was the big rookie? It's not a huge one. I want to say it's about 78. Jack Sigma is a rookie in that. I know that because I don't have that card. It's actually still on my want list. But I'm totally drawing a blank who the guy is that did have a rookie in that. Which is funny. I know it. I know the player. But anyway, I definitely want to get some more vintage basketball. I want a Bird rookie and a Magic rookie, even if they're perforated, even if they're torn to like just the tiny little cards from 1980 or whatever. And then I think it was 81 then that they each had their own first full-sized card with just them on it. So I kind of want those two. Those feel like a rookie. Football, like I said, I don't care as much. I just want to get an O.J. Simpson, a Bart Starr, a Johnny Unitas, any condition. Another good one for football. I just found out that Wahoo McDaniel, pro wrestler, and Ernie Ladd, pro wrestler, both have football cards. So I want to pick those up just for fun. Basketball, I want Lou Alcindor. I want Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain. I got me a Rick Barry, though I'd like to get an earlier one that actually has a little bit of value, but that's a good start. So yeah, tons of basketball I want, just a few football. And hockey, I have a much better start than all the others I have. I need a Gordie Howe. I need a Rocket Richard. But I have most anybody who played in the 70s at least, except Gordie. But I think because he was in WHA instead of NHL for a good portion of his career, it's harder to find those cards. He's not in all the NHL sets, right? Same with Bobby Hull. Anyway, that's just my take on why I decided to turn towards vintage cards and focus on them, not for the value, but just because I want a really cool collection. I want my kids to have a really cool collection if they decide to collect. I've got boys who are 4 and 6. They like opening packs with me. And then I have my little girl turned 10 months yesterday. So these are fun to look at. I get a thrill out of seeing these old cards and wishing that I hadn't sold off. I got mad at my dad for getting rid of his collection the year I was born, but I got rid of his collection that I found in the shoebox. So everybody does it, you know. I did keep the one card I found in his wallet. I wish I had it right now in my hand to show you, but it's up on my wall, like on display in my room, so I couldn't get it off the wall that easy. 1961 Roberto Clemente. That was his favorite player, so it was kept in his wallet. How cool is that? And for being in a wallet, pretty good shape. So yeah, vintage. I've got. This is an idea for another video. A couple ideas for another video. I've got a weird post that I made today looking for vintage cards from all 4 sports. And I'll get into that another time. So hopefully I'll have some more on the way soon. I do have 2 hockey. I'm drawing a blank right now. 1 hockey collection for sure. That's really older stuff. Low end, beat up, 50s or 60s original 6 type stuff. I feel like there's an Andy Heventon rookie in there, which is awesome because I don't have it. and I know Andy Heaven, or I knew Andy Heaven personally. He's a friend of my mom's, and so hopefully I'll show those off soon. I have another one coming too, another package coming, and I can't think of what it is. But I'm constantly looking now, and there's just it opened up such a huge door for me. I just wish I had more money to spend because I gotta get creative and dig through the bargain bins at the once a month shows in the area and try to find people who are willing to trade that have vintage, and I have no vintage to trade. So hey, I got a 1990s Donruss Sammy Sosa I can trade you. In fact, a whole stack of them. So anyway, uh, yeah, I'm really enjoying vintage cards all of a sudden, and I just wanted to share that. I am taking my collection in a new direction. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Bradu.